Thank you very much, Ruth. Conference, it's a pleasure to be able to speak to you so soon after taking responsibility for a new portfolio. Work and pensions was always going to be a challenging brief, not least because the public think that politicians don't work hard enough and that we don't deserve our pensions. I'm in my 30s and I intend to earn my pension by representing the people of Cardiff Central for many years to come. But as a woman, I know that the life decisions I make now could have a potentially ruinous effect on the pension that this Labour government plans for me. Tomorrow, we will celebrate the centenary of the basic state pension, but we will also set out our plans to end the appalling discrimination in today's pension system. A system in which women and carers are condemned to a retirement on lower pensions because they choose to contribute to our society by caring for their children, families and friends. They and all pensioners deserve a fair deal, a better deal. They deserve the citizen's pension that's affordable, fair and universal, and that is what the Liberal Democrats will deliver. But today, I want to set out why I believe that we are the only party that has the progressive ideas to tackle poverty, to help people back into work, and to make work pay. Did you know that this year, for the first time ever, there are more children living in poverty in working households than in unemployed households? That's right. More than half of the children in poverty in the UK live in a home where people are working. Under Labour, work is no longer the surefire way for families to lift themselves out of poverty. It used to be the case that if you worked hard, you could give your family a good life. Well, not anymore. Not in Labour's Britain, and not in Gordon Brown's Britain. Who would have predicted, after 11 years of a Labour government, the number of people living in poverty would be going up? Who would have predicted that the number of adults of working age in poverty would be going up? That child poverty would be going up? Just the other day, a constituent came to see me in my office in Cardiff. A full-time nurse, a husband, and a father to 2 young children. He's worked his entire adult life. He came to me for help because he is struggling to make ends meet. But the most depressing thing about his situation is that he has worked out that he would be better off if he leaves his job. He would no longer have the expense of petrol to travel to work. He wouldn't need costly childcare. He would pay less tax, and he'd be eligible for new benefits. All this means he will have more money if he stops working. He doesn't want to stop working, but the system that Gordon Brown has created means that it would be better for him and his family if he joins the growing number of unemployed across the country. Gordon Brown likes to blame global conditions for all the difficulties that this country is facing, but he can't blame global conditions for condemning so many in Britain to poverty and dependency. It's not oil prices that created a tax credit system which has overpaid 7 million families and put them in debt. It's not global markets that are to blame for pensions paid at poverty levels. It's not subprime mortgages that caused the abolition of the 10p rate. Those are all Gordon Brown's work. The Prime Minister built up a benefit system so complex, so unstable, so badly thought through, that it no longer serves its purpose. A system so complex, officials who administer it made mistakes worth over £1 billion last year alone. So unstable, families are put off claiming the tax credits they need because they're afraid they'll have to pay it all back. So badly thought through that people can be better off out of work. Gordon Brown has created welfare-to-work programmes that have seen youth unemployment rise, that have seen more under 35s on sickness benefit than any other age group. His ideas aren't helping young people into work. One of my colleagues recently met a young man who could barely read or write. He was on the New Deal, but he still had to wait for months before he got any help. It was 6 months before job centre staff were allowed to send him on a course which wouldn't even specifically address his illiteracy. The programme prescribed by Whitehall ignored his problems. How can it be right that young people are left languishing on benefits with no help to find a life-changing opportunity? Every year, fewer and fewer working families claim housing benefit. Last year, over 500,000 families didn't claim the benefit that they were due. How can it be right that the system supposed to help families afford their rent just scares them off? And take council tax benefit. We know that the council tax is manifestly unfair and is crippling for many on low incomes. So the benefit is vital. But the number of families failing to claim has doubled since 1997. Labour's welfare system is at a dead end. Labour just doesn't get it anymore. They've tried and failed. In July, James Pennell launched Labour's welfare reform proposals. A lot of headlines, a lot of plans, but no original ideas. The only good ones were out of our Freedom from Poverty paper, but the rest was same old Labour. The programmes of back-to-work support will be imposed centrally from Whitehall, bureaucrats dictating to local job centre staff who are left with no discretion. Supersized contracts for the private and voluntary sector will be unresponsive, and they'll stifle innovation and shackle local providers. The complexity of the benefit system will be left completely untouched, stopping cash getting to those who need it. Their plans asserted that work is the best route out of poverty, but nowhere did it say how that was going to become a reality. There are no radical plans to empower job centre staff or support people back into work. No radical plans to simplify the benefit system or to make work pay. When I first became an MP 3 years ago, I never thought I'd sit in the House of Commons and hear Labour and the Tories agree on welfare reform. But they did. Proof, if we needed any, that Labour has abandoned its progressive roots and that nothing will change under the Conservatives. The Conservatives have never cared about low-income families struggling to make ends meet. They have never cared about helping disadvantaged people get jobs, people who want to work but are struggling with disabilities and mental health problems. Their philosophy doesn't reflect modern reality. It harks back to old-fashioned ideas. Even under Cameron, Conservative means conservative. He wants to give married people tax breaks, as if other families deserve to pay more tax. That's Conservative, not progressive. He wants to revive workhouse rules, criminalising those who can't find jobs, as if anyone who isn't working is somehow guilty of a crime. That's Conservative, not progressive. And he wants to cut taxes for the richest 6% of the population, as if they are the families that need extra cash in their pockets. That's Conservative, definitely not progressive. The Conservatives won't be the positive force for change that Britain needs. Or conference, the Liberal Democrats will. The Liberal Democrats will make the benefit system fairer. We will help people get jobs, jobs that make their lives better, giving everyone personalised help to get back to work. We will make work pay, so thousands of working families can pay their bills, can make ends meet. We'll remove the instability of the tax credit system so people know how much they'll get and when. We need to restore a liberal welfare state that's transparent, simple and fair. A liberal welfare state that will give people freedom and choice about how to support and better themselves. A liberal welfare state that will make Britain fairer for everyone, not just for the privileged, like the Conservatives want, and not just for Whitehall and the Treasury, like Labour wants. The Liberal Democrats are the only home for all those people who want to make real change happen for Britain. Change for children living in poverty, change for people out of work, change for struggling families. The policies we passed last year in the Freedom from Poverty paper are the most progressive, innovative and just of any party. They were a solid foundation, but now we need to go further. We need to keep our radical edge and we need to lead the political field. So, under Nick Clegg's leadership, we're taking these ideas forward so that social justice and help for families form the centrepiece of our manifesto. And we must start with a radically simpler benefit system. Let's sweep away the complexity. Let's have a single working age benefit, an end to switching people between benefits, easier to understand, cheaper and simpler to administer, and harder to defraud. That's positive, progressive change for Britain. Labour can't deliver. Conservatives won't deliver, but we will. Change to get Britain working. This means reinventing back-to-work services, creating personalised services, empowering frontline staff, making decisions locally to suit local communities. The man in Whitehall doesn't know what type of help a job seeker in Cardiff needs, but the local job centre staff do. Job centre managers should be influential decision makers in charge of dynamic, publicly owned, specialist recruitment agencies. Agencies that use their local position to work with job seekers and businesses to deliver the right people with the right skills into the right jobs. And that means having control over their own budgets to commission services for their customers. But let's go further. Let's consider devolving some of the responsibility for tackling poverty to local authorities. They are best placed to identify families, the disabled, vulnerable and unemployed, who are not accessing the services which they need. So we'll be looking at ways to engage local authorities in the fight against poverty and worklessness. We will be looking at what local authorities can do to encourage families in their area to claim the benefits they're entitled to and to access local services, to drive up the take-up of benefits that can make all the difference to families, the difference between making ends meet and going without. And we'll be talking to local government about how they could support Job Centre Plus to get communities working. That's positive, progressive change for Britain. Change that Labour can't deliver, that the Conservatives won't deliver, that we will deliver. We will make it happen. And finally, we must throw our weight behind families trying to work their way out of poverty. Labour has simply forgotten them. Some of you will have been in today's consultation session with Susan Kramer, talking about childcare and how we can extend its provision to more families. That is a crucial component of helping families to profit from work. Everyone needs to know that the first step back into work is going to make them better off. This may mean looking at whether tax credits for childcare should also be paid to people working 3 or 4 hours a week, not just over 16, as the current rules dictate. That's positive change for Britain's families. Families Labour can't help. Families the Conservatives won't help. But we will. We will make it happen for working families. We will make it happen for the 2.9 million children still in poverty under Labour. We will make it happen for the 2.9 million pensioners still in poverty under Labour. And we will make it happen for almost 3 million families living in poverty under Labour. Labour can't. They've failed. The Conservatives won't. They're Conservatives. The Liberal Democrats, we will. Thank you.